All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen of 8th period. How are you guys? Mr. Thompson again, sending out another video. This time, I'm going to be talking about angles. Okay, so this week we're going to be covering complementary angles, supplementary angles, adjacent angles, and vertical angles, 4 different types. Today we're going to learn about them, and throughout the rest of the week we're going to review them and practice them. With what we're going to do today, there was a PowerPoint that I actually found online that was very helpful. I did not make this PowerPoint. I don't own this PowerPoint, but I thought it would be helpful to walk through it with you guys, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about when we're talking about those 4 different kind of angles, okay? So I'm going to share my screen right here and make it large enough so that we can see the entire thing, okay? So what we're talking about, once again, adjacent, vertical, supplementary, complementary angles, and linear pairs. That was the other one I forgot to mention. All right, so we're going to go through and we're going to kind of describe it. Now I'm going to get my writing tool just so I can annotate a couple areas here. What we do, red. Red stands out well. Okay, so adjacent angles are side by side and that they share a common ray. So what do I mean by that? So if you look here, this angle here is right next to this angle here, and they're sharing this common ray right down the middle of them. Okay, that's all that means. So let's show you a couple more examples of it. If you click over next. So all of these are examples of that. If you look, they all have side-by-side lines and then a ray that is intersecting them. Okay, so now you can see what I mean when I say examples of an adjacent angle. Each one of these are side-by-side with a ray that's intersecting or coming out. Okay, here's an example of what they aren't. Look over here. These are not coming together. There's nothing intersecting them. This is a vertical, or this is a linear area here. Right here, once again, we're kind of splitting off. So those are all examples of what they aren't. All right, so when 2 lines when 2 lines intersect, they make vertical angles. So if you looked here, so it looks like just like an X, right? Look down at your X, and when they intersect, this right here is your vertical angles. So 105, 105, 75, 75. Vertical angles are opposite of one another. So if you see this 75 here, right on the opposite side, there's another 75. So if we were looking at this angle, it's going to ask me to draw. If we're looking at this angle right here, say we named it B, in the middle here is G, and on the outside we put T, BGT. The vertical angle for this one would be, and I'm going to make this a different color, the opposite side. So, and we could name this, so G is going to remain the same in the middle, and we'll do J and L. So the way that this would be written out, when we practice later this week, this would be, the top would be angle B, G, T. Now, you could also write it TGB. That's fine. It's not going to mess the problem up at all, just as long as G is going to be in the middle, okay? So looking at my lower one, then I have JGL. So I would write, that's angle J. I'm sorry, I should have said, with that, if you are asked on a quiz or on a worksheet, what angle is opposite, or is the vertical angle to BGT? So here's BGT right here. It says what angle is vertical to angle BGT? Then you would put out angle JGL. Okay, we're going to have a lot more time practicing that. All right, so let's go ahead and go to our mouse. Move on. So once again, these angles are opposite of each other, just like we did with our 75s. Vertical angles are congruent and have equal measures. So that's like I was showing you on these last ones. If you see 75, 75, they're equal. 105, 105, they're equal. Same thing here. Same thing here. 150, 150, 30, 30. They're equal. Okay, so that's how we know they're vertical. Now let's talk about supplementary angles. Okay, so these are angles that are going to add up to 180 degrees. So when you look here, so this would be an example of an adjacent supplement. So once again, you see it's got that ray that's coming off here, and they're equaling 180 degrees. So 120 plus 60, that gives you 180. If you look over here, now these are not adjacent, but these would be supplementary because when you add up 140 plus 40, you're going to still end up with 180 degrees. Okay, but you can see here, these are not, there's not a ray coming off of either one of these. They would have to be connected with a ray coming off for it to be adjacent. So an example of that would be right here. This is still supplementary though, because you're getting to 180 degrees. These are complementary angles that add up to 90 degrees. So complementary angles are going to add up to 90 degrees. So once again, this is going to be an example of an adjacent right here because we have two sides together with the ray coming out and it equals 90 degrees. Complementary angles are going to equal 90 degrees. Looking over on this side here, we have two angles that are not connected, so they're not going to be adjacent, but they still are complementary because 50 plus 40 is going to give us 90. And I know, I'm sorry, we're going a little fast through this. If any questions ever come about, as you guys have been doing, reach out with it. Any questions, email me. We can Zoom or we can Google Meet to go over any of this, and we're going to be practicing it as well throughout the remainder of our week. So don't be stressing too much if you think I'm going too fast. And as always, if you ever need to pause and go back or just work a problem out before I get to it, which we're going to do in just a second, I think that's a really good strategy to use to help you out in the long run, okay? So like I said, we're going to do some practice. So if you need to go back through what I just went through with you, you can and review it. And then when you get to this part, you can pause. So we're going to identify each pair of angles as a vertical, supplementary, complementary, adjacent, linear pair, or none of the above. Okay, so let me, you can go ahead and pause right now if you want to try this one on your own. If not, first thing I'm noticing is this is going to be adjacent. You can see the ray coming off. Then I see 120 degrees here and 60 degrees here. Okay, when you add the two of those up, we're going to get 180 degrees, which is going to give us a supplementary angle. Okay, now looking right here, I have 60 degrees and I have 30 degrees. Add those two together, you're going to get 90 degrees, which is going to be complementary, a complementary angle. Okay, this is the one that we were talking about. We have equal on the opposite side, equal. It's like an X crossing over. This would be an example of vertical angles. Okay, once again, let's look here. We have 60 plus 40. Let's add that up. So 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Right away, I'm noticing this doesn't add up to 90 degrees. These are not adjacent. These are not vertical because they're not crossing in an X and they don't equal each other. They're not supplementary because they're not adding up to 180 either. So I would say this is none of the above. Okay, coming here, once again, we have crossing angles, both equaling each other. Those would be vertical angles. All right, now we're going to take these two here. These are crossing. Now, I know it's going to trick you because this line's going through, and I know you're going to think, wait, this is a vertical angle. Well, we're not focusing here. We're focusing up at the top here. So this would actually be 135 plus 45 gives us 180, which is going to be a supplementary angle. And you can see that ray branching off here, which is meaning that it's just an adjacent angle. And it says here, supplementary angles, adjacent angles. linear pair. And the reason why it's a linear pair as well, let me show you here. I guess I said it would confuse you, but if you really just think about it. So this is 135 degrees. This is 45 degrees. If you take this angle right here and you just go right across from it, it's going to be the exact same. Same thing with this 135, this angle right here. If we go to the opposite end of it, it's going to give us the same exact degree measure. Okay, so this would be 45 here, and that would be 135 there. So they're supplementary because they're adding up to 180 degrees. They're adjacent because we have that ray that's splitting them up. And then they're linear as well because if you look on the opposite side, they would equal each other. Okay, let's keep going from there. We'll clear this one. Okay, 65 plus 25 is going to give us 90, so we know it's going to be a complementary angle, as well as it's splitting up with this ray right here, which is going to give us an adjacent. This is going to be a complementary angle that has also adjacent angles connected to it. Okay, last one here, number 8. You want to take a look at this one? None of the above. Why? Well, 90 plus 50, that's not equaling 90 to be a complementary angle, not 180 to be a supplementary angle. And on top of that, the rays right here, if it's branching out this way, we do have one ray coming up on this side, but we have this out here that's also lingering, so it's not going to be adjacent. It's not vertical, they're not equal sides, so this would be none of the above. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and I'm going to share my screen here. All right, so let's go through this without using the PowerPoint. So a vertical angle, so I can write the text right here. Okay, the vertical angle is going to look like this. They're going to cross just like an X. We can make it more our arrows like this. Actually, maybe it'd be better if I did. Okay, and then I'm going to do so vertical angles. Okay, a vertical angle is going to cross like this, and on both sides it's going to be equal. So if I had, I'll change the color here. Say I had, I don't know, 45 degrees here and 45 degrees here. Well, they're both equal, so we know they're vertical. And let's say I had 30 here and 30 here. They're both equal. Okay, so these would be an example of vertical angles. Okay, I'm going to clear that out. Now, I'm just going to abbreviate here. So let's do supplementary. So, sup. And we are going to, let's go down. Okay, I'm going to draw a line. This. Another one like this. And then say I put, this was, I don't know, let's say 140 degrees. This was 40 degrees. This would be an example of it's adjacent right away, we know, because it's branching off on both sides. As well as if you add these up, it's going to be supplementary because it equals 180 degrees. Okay, clear my screen out here. Once again, I'm going to abbreviate. So now we're going to talk about complementary. say with complementary. And say we had 50 degrees. This was 40 degrees. These would add up to 90 degrees, which is what a complementary angle is. Okay. So we did vertical, we did complementary, we did supplementary. Let me see. Vertical, we've already covered adjacent. So I guess we could leave it at that. If you guys have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me. I'm available for Zoom meetings, for Google Meets. I'm available for phone calls, for emails. Any questions or concerns, please make sure that you're reaching out to me so that I can help you out. I know there's a lot of information to kind of come at you at once, but definitely important information. So any questions or concerns, please reach out to me. You guys are doing awesome. Keep it up. And I look forward to the rest of this week. And the school year is coming to a wind down. So you guys have been doing awesome. Just hang in there, and we're going to get through it together. All right? All right. Thank you.